Hey guys, I'm CLINTFLAIRWOOO. Welcome back to another Division 2 video, and today I wanted to discuss the difference, the similarities and your personal perspective on the simple element of this game, which is PvP, and how it compares to the Division 1. Now, I recently put out a post on my community tab on YouTube that asked the simple question, what do you prefer? Choose one, and that is Division 1 PvP or Division 2 PvP. And as we can see on the screen now, Division 1 PvP does have 74% of the votes and only 26% for Division 2 PvP. And does that come as any surprise to anyone in particular? I would say no, it shouldn't, in all fairness. PvP in the Division 1 was very unique, it was very different, and had its own core player base, in my opinion. And a lot of gamers, a lot of Division 1 agents enjoyed the PvP in the Division 1. And regardless what patch it was, regarding metas, PvP in Division did feel kind of good, in all honesty. But let's go through the community's opinions and why they are valid and why we need to talk about them today. Cool. A good man, Metal Sentinel, did post this. Let me know your opinion, guys. I chose Div 2 on the basis that it took nearly 3 years for them to get PvP right in Div 1. As it stands now in Div 2, PvP is okay. Could it be better? But most people seem to forget the mess Div 1 was in leading up to patch 1.7. We've got a long time ahead of us with Div 2, and it's taken a long time for them to get some semblance of balance. Albeit it's not perfect, but it's still an improvement. I want to touch on this. I mean, Metal Sentinel, top guy, great comment here. And I do agree. It's taken Div 1 a long time to get PvP balanced and correct in the Division 1 throughout all the patches, but they got there in the end. In my opinion, there was a lot of balance towards the end. You're talking 1.7, 1.8. So it did take them a long time, and it was at times an absolute chaos. It was just a disaster. Now with Division 2, PvP has not started well. It's in no mean place whatsoever. It's not in a good place by any stretch. It's okay. It's okay at very best. Now, do I have faith in Massive in converting PvP into something great? They have introduced good old ETF, which is happening imminently. So for that, you have to put the faith in the ETF guys, whoever that may be, that do implement and do give Massive some great ideas and feedback on what we need to see changed. I do feel there's a lot of leg room in this game. There's a lot of way for it to go, and it is in its early days. My frustration is they had 3 years of learning through the Division 1, and what I would have done is taken the best bits out of PvP and implemented those into the Division 2. However, I don't feel they've done that whatsoever. They've made it a very different kind of game, in my opinion. Guys, let me know in the comments box what you feel. Next point. Silverback, hello fella. I just went back to Div 1 for the GE, and man, it made me appreciate Div 2 even more. At least when it comes to PvE. Now, this is a tricky one, in all fairness. This guy's telling me that he appreciates Div 2, and to be fair, PvE in Division 2 is solid. I have very little complaints with Div 2 PvE. The content, the mechanics are pretty good. Yeah, obviously it needs a tweak, we all know that, but it's in a good place. What you're looking at as a problem is the loot mechanic. We're talking the grind, however, that may be or in a position where it could be fixed very soon. Fingers crossed, touch wood and all that jazz, but yeah, you know, I'd agree. Div 2 PvE is in such a good place. It really is. But this is what we want to talk about is PvP. So, that fella, I'm going to move on quickly. MacGun17, my main man. Division 1 patch, 1.7 all day, any day, enough said. This man's spot on. Now, for me, I've played Div 1 PvP for a long time. Since the very beginning of the game. I wasn't very good at it initially, but it took me a lot of time, a lot of patience to get to be competitive in some essence. Now 1.7 was at a point where the game felt very good. 1.8 was the patch that brought everybody back, but 1.7 was the catalyst for that, in my opinion, where everything felt viable to a point that it was actually really strong. So 1.7, that's where it was at. Matt Guns, again, big fan of Division 1 PvP. I've seen many builds, PvE, PvP from this man. God, absolutely insane. But he's on point here. 1.7, in my opinion, was the patch that was the catalyst for improvement in Division 1. Next one is my main man, Marco. Cheers, fella. The worst patch in Div 1 is even better than Div 2. Does that game even have PvP? Only found empty DZs. Now, this is quite a difficult one, you know, because it's, again, that's a very emotional response. Now, what I do want to say is Div 2 PvP, it has opportunity. It has a shitload of opportunity. They just need to tweak it and fine-tune it and take some of the points that have been made by myself and other content creators in the past to make it even better. Now, it's in an okay place. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of PvP in Div 2. I'm not. I do feel it has scope to improve. And again, go back to the ETF comment. If they make the correct adjustments to PvP and ensure that it's balanced, then happy days, we'll see the game progress quite nicely. Now, part of the issue that most people have is diversity and the ability to run builds that are viable in any given scenario, and Div 2, it does not offer that. Now, with Title Update 5, I was in awe with the skill update meta, and it came back with a bang. Title Update 5 was a slight turning point for Div 2, to a degree. So in terms of builds, in terms of the BTSU gloves, for skill build players, for PvE players, it was a dream come true. For PvPers, again, we're in the same position, the same place where not much has changed, and hopefully Title Update 6 remedies the problems the game has, and it has an abundance at present. I do have hopes, and I do have a little bit of faith in Massive that they do come around and work on these and ensure they are fixed and made viable for Title Update 6 and beyond. Next one is Brian. Just got off a 4-hour DC session on Div 1. Don't even care about Div 2 PvP anymore. This seems to be a very popular opinion at present, is that people playing PvE in Div 2 having such good fun in terms of the skills are absolutely in a great place now and becoming close to being OP, in my opinion, and that they are hugely viable, and there's so many skill build options, which is great and absolutely great for the game. Now, when it comes to PvP, personal experience is the servers are not anywhere near capacity. 12 people in the DC, is that enough? We'll talk about it in a future video, but there is problems with the sheer amount of population of PvPers in the game. And again, for me, I'd want to see packed servers. I want to see it being absolutely lit, and with Div 1, I got that most of the time, albeit, again, as we've said before, and as what Metal Sentinel said, again, there have been various patches where the game's been such a very bad place, but it came back to a decent place later in the game. But Div 2 does have that potential if they work out the mechanics of PvP and how people want to PvP. There are varying different ideas that the community do have. So PvP in Div 1 will always be strong. I mean, it is face tank heaven, in all honesty, whereas PvP in Div 2 is nowhere near like that. It's a complete different ballgame. So that may be a reason why people have gone back. Maybe. Last one is Carl Wilson, Div 1 pre-patch, 1.7 all day long, because after that it turned to shy. Yeah, again, it's difficult. Everyone will have their own opinions, and for me personally, patch 1.7 was such a good patch. Everything felt good about the game. It felt very, very good. So if you're in a position like myself that was day one and Div 1 PvP, that was the patch where everything felt you could use it and you could be competitive. I was running final measured DPS and I was having a blast, and I could compete with most players. And that's the good thing about Div 1. Now in Div 2, when you look at the builds on paper, there is a huge amount of diversity you can put together in builds for PvE, PvP, etc. Now with Div 1, there wasn't, I feel, that kind of diversity. There were great options via the Ninja Byte Messenger Bag. However, Div 2, due to the sheer volume of brand sets and gear sets at present, then there is more diversity. However, the diversity that is available in Div 2 doesn't have the same oomph. As I said, file meta DPS could work a treat in Division 1. If I do an off-meta build for PvP, the chances of it working against a fully kind of optimized 3.11.7 build, then I will struggle. In fact, I'll have my ass taken down. And that is the issue. There is a meta, and the meta is so far above and beyond anything else, and that should not be the case. There should be that balance of what we all want from Div 2. Now guys, what is your feeling on PvP in Division 2? How does it compare to PvP in Div 1? Do you prefer Div 2? Guys, let me know in the comment section what you want to see, what you want to happen. I'm really keen to hear and read your thoughts, and guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.